You kept waiting, and they kept delaying, not giving you a yes, not giving you a no, just keeping you in between. And that's the worst place to be, because you're not moving forward, but you're not letting go either. You're stuck in hope, stuck in confusion, stuck in maybe. And maybe is the most dangerous place to live, because it feels like something, but it's actually nothing. And deep down, you knew that. You knew their effort wasn't consistent. You knew their words didn't match actions. You knew something felt off, but you stayed, because they didn't fully leave. They gave you just enough attention to keep you attached, just enough care to keep you hoping, just enough presence to keep you from walking away. And that's what kept you stuck. Not love, not connection, just confusion. And confusion is not a sign of something real. It's a sign of inconsistency. Because when something is real, it's clear. It doesn't make you question everything. It doesn't make you overthink every detail. But this did. Every single day, you kept checking your phone, waiting for their message, waiting for their effort, waiting for something to feel normal again. But it never did. Because they weren't trying to build something real. They were just keeping you around, as an option, as a backup, as someone they could come back to whenever they felt like it. And you allowed that. Not because you're weak, but because you cared. Because you believed if you stayed long enough, they would finally choose you. But they didn't. Because people don't delay decisions when they're sure about someone. They don't hesitate. They don't confuse. They don't keep you guessing. They choose clearly. And if someone is not choosing you, they are choosing something else. And that's the truth you avoided. Because accepting it meant letting go. And letting go felt like losing everything. So you stayed in maybe. Even when it hurt. Even when it drained you. Even when it stopped making sense. Because hope can be addictive. It makes you believe something will change, even when nothing is changing. And that's dangerous. Because while you're hoping, you're wasting time. Time you'll never get back. Time you could have spent healing. Time you could have spent growing. Time you could have spent with someone who actually chooses you. But instead, you waited. For clarity, for effort, for something real. But clarity was already there. You just didn't accept it. Because silence is an answer. Inconsistency is an answer. Lack of effort is an answer. And none of those answers meant stay. They meant leave. But you didn't. Until one day, you got tired. Not of them, but of waiting, of hoping, of feeling stuck. And that's when it shifts. Because now, you're not holding on anymore. Now, you're choosing clarity over confusion. You're choosing peace over maybe. You're choosing yourself over uncertainty. And that decision changes everything. Because now, you don't accept half effort. You don't stay in unclear situations. You don't wait for someone to decide your value. Because you already know it. And once you know your value, you stop accepting maybe. You only accept yes. Clear, consistent, certain. And if it's not that, you walk away. Without hesitation. Without overthinking. Without looking back. Because now you understand. Maybe was never love. It was just delay. And you deserve something real, not something uncertain.